Today I'm going to show you how I take a Claude CoWork automation, bring it into Claude Code, debug it, put it back into Claude CoWork to make sure it works, and then bring it back into Claude Code to get it ready to send back to the person who originally sent it to me. This is the kind of stuff that just sometimes you got to do. You got to figure out how to make it work. So I hope you enjoy this. This is a real life workflow that is actually running that I helped debug and made actually work. Well, I hope I made it work. I haven't sent it to him yet, but I will at the end of the video. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show how I would use Claude Code as opposed to Claude CoWork to analyze this problem and see what's going on. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to come in here to Claude Code and I'm going to go to the folder where I'm working with him on his stuff. And I'm going to say this automation is running in Claude CoWork, but not producing good results. It's basically repeating the same thing over and over and not doing what it should. I don't have access to the files and folders that it is using, so do the best you can to analyze without being able to proof anything. And then I'm going to paste the instructions in. And so I just put all these instructions in here. Now I already have reviewed the instructions and I have an idea of what the issues are. So I'm going to hit enter and I'm going to let it look through this and see if it can determine what the issues are with this particular project. Okay, so what it's saying is that it's a broken write back creating an infinite loop on row 2. So it can't see the actual logs or files, but it's repeating the same thing over and over. It probably means the entire advanced index resource mechanism depends on step 4, successfully writing the doc URL into column H. This is exactly what I know is not working. Step 2 picks work by scanning for the first row where column 8 is blank. So if step 4 fails to write the link, column H stays the same. That's exactly what doing the same thing over again. So why it is the most weak link? It drives the app script web editor through the Chrome MCP, which breaks in several predictable ways. The run executes a saved code, not the injected code, changes the editor buffer, function selects or mismatch. The next button runs whatever function is chosen in the toolbar dropdown. So what it's doing is it's creating an app script to create this, which is probably not a good strategy to use. So the agent probably thinks that the script is actually running, but the value never lands in the sheet, which means that it is a silent failure. And this is very typical when working with AI, is that there are silent failures all the time. And if you don't build in the check to make sure that the silent failures don't happen, then you need to do that. Append line 2 build log.txt doesn't help because step 2 reads column H of the sheet, not the build log. So even when the fallback fires successfully, the next run will see a blank column H and rebuilds on the same row. And this is exactly what was happening. The second one is tool availability. If Google Drive MCP is not available, then that's definitely an issue. So instead of using AppScript, you should use a direct sheets write, which the Drive MCP should do, and then add an idempotency guard. And this is one that this word has been coming up a lot lately. Idempotency is the property of certain operations in mathematics whereby they can be applied multiple times without changing the result. Okay, whatever that means. So then make the fallback actually advance the state. If you must keep the build log text fallback, then step 2 should also consult the build log or the folder contents to decide what's already built, not column H alone. If you keep the app script path, you have to harden it and save and wait and ensure that it's actually done, and add a verification gate to step 5. Don't log complete until the agent rereads column H for that row. Now, this is, I think, the simplest thing. Number 5, you just need to add a verification gate that says, make sure that this actually works. So I'm going to say, yes, replace 1, 2, yes, add this, 3, yes, add this, 4, yes, add this, and 5, add this. Update the instructions so I can save them back. Okay, so now it's going to do this, and it's putting all the Google Doc links and everything in there, which is all good and dandy. Now, what I'm going to do to take this to the next level is I'm going to set this up so that it can be run basically anywhere, that you can install this on your machine and do the same kind of thing and take out some of the very specific things that are there. Yes, add this to my linked leaders AI brain folder as an example of a problem we worked through. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell it I want to test this with my own Google Drive account. So make another version that I can use in CoWork, and what I want to do here, and have it ask me what the spreadsheet in Google Drive folder should be. Call it resource maker, so I can tell it is different from what Mike originally sent and what I am sending back to him. Okay, so while it's making that, I'm going to come over here to CoWork, and I'm going to do a new task. It's going to be in linked leaders, and I'm going to do customize and connect my apps, and I'm going to do Google Drive. Now I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to work in linked leaders. I'm going to say I want you to create an automation with these instructions, and we're going to come here and put all these things, all these correct things in here. Resource title, resource type, description, best weeks, inspired by source, Google Doc link. Okay, and then I'm going to fill this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this to say fill in this table with good ideas for inspiration for school leaders. And let's see how it does. Okay, so it went ahead and just put these things in here. I just had the AI create them. So I'm not saying that they are good or anything, but they're in here. So now this file should work how we want it to in Claude CoWork. It's created the version and indexed it, so we're ready to go. So now I'm going to take this document and I'm going to come over here to CoWork using these instructions, and I'm just going to upload that file that it created for me. And I'm going to say, this is what I want you to do. I want you to create an automation with these instructions. Now it's going to go through here and it's going to read through all this and make sure that it works. I'm going to grab the Google Sheet. Here's the Google Sheet I want you to use. And here's the folder where, so let's say daily, early AM. When the operation runs unintended, what should do if the Google Drive Sheets connection required IDs are missing? Let's have it notify me. And then let me find the folder. So I'm just going to create a new folder and I'm going to call it Leadership Resources. And I'm going to add this here. Want you to save it. Okay. So spreadsheet ID, tab ID. Tab ID is the only tab on there. And the target drive folder ID. Okay, so I click that and now it's going to make it for me. We're going to tell it to always allow. Okay, so the sheet is accessible. It's getting it. It's going to check with that folder. It's getting it. Requested entity was not found. So let me see why the folder is not found. I'll just get the link here. Let me put the link in. Let's always allow that. Always allow that. Shared with the right account now. Okay, so it looks like it found it. Good. Great. Now it's going to check the create file capability so it can do what it actually is supposed to do. So now it's creating the daily automation. And then once it creates the daily automation, what I'm going to do is tell it to run 4 times in a row and make sure that it works. Because that's really the ultimate test. Is this actually going to work? So what I need to see is column H in my spreadsheet will have the files there that need to be there, the links to them. Okay, so it's going to do that. Great, now let's run it manually to make sure it works how it should. So this is going to run manually. Okay, here we are with the file. It was created, but the spreadsheet was not updated. Why not? So now we'll just troubleshoot in this. Why didn't this work? Because it should have worked, and its job is for it to actually work. So the issue is that the connected Google Drive connector can't write into a spreadsheet cell. This is really ridiculous. Why can't it do this? And why doesn't it tell me? Up here, it told me that it all worked just how it was supposed to, but it didn't actually check that thing that it needed to do. So what I'm going to say is I want you to update this through the browser. So it's going to take control of my browser and do that. Now, this is not the ideal solution, and this is a situation where using Claude Code would be better because there are tools that can write there to make it work. So now it's going to have to check my browser and make sure that it's connected. All right. We're going to allow all browser actions. That should make it do exactly what it needs to do. Okay, so here I am in this Google Doc, this Google Sheet, where it's supposed to build these things, and it should put the link to it right here in column H. So I'm going to let it sit here and see what it does, and we'll check back here in a minute. All right, so over here, I'm looking in leadership resources. There's the build log, and there's the Summer, the strategic school leader. Here's the file. Okay, very good. It made it. Excellent. Now let's see if it updated the sheet. That's what we're still waiting on, is for it to update the sheet. So I'm just going to give it a little refresh, see if we get anything. Nope. It's going to go to that cell. You can see the little orange Claude thing there, and it put the link in. Good. So that did what we wanted it to. Okay, so now it said, all right, it did it. That cell's filled. I said update the instructions to use browser control to update that cell, and always verify this is actually updated before saying it is done. Okay, so now it's going to update this scheduled task, and it's going to say, is this what you want me to do? And then come down here, confirm the doc exists and the build log is present, retry the browser route once, then reread. If still fails to create a clear partial result, doc build log, but column H not written, with row number and URL, so the next run can recover via the duplicate guard. Never report full success on unverified column H write. Perfect. That's what we want it to say. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, okay, run this scheduled run again manually and make sure it works perfectly this time. Now what it should do is it should create a new thing in row 3 based on that tool. So we're going to let it work here. Okay, this time it verified it, and I can see in the Claude and Chrome preview that it's working. So that's great. I can see that over here. I can see it added the thing right down there. And so now I'm going to say, okay, run this again, and let's make sure it works again. Okay, so it says one cleanup worth making. The connector can't overwrite files. So old build log step would spawn a new build log text every single day. Since column H is now the authoritative verified state in the Fox folder's doc name duplicate guard already prevents rebuild loops on its own. I'll drop the build log dependency from the schedule so it stays clean. Okay, that works. All right, so we're going to run it again, and we're going to make sure that it works. So it just took the build log.txt scheduler out, which is fine. Now we know that it works and it's there. And we're going to queue this one and have it go again. Let's send that again. Now this time it should just work all the way through. That's what we're going for. And whenever you're having AI do something, you want to make sure that it does it exactly how you want it. We've had to make changes on each one of these. This time, hopefully it's going to build cleanly without us having to make any changes to it at all. So we'll let that see. Okay, now we can see our Claude and Chrome preview over here again, and yes, it is working. The row H4 has what it needs to. Now reapplying the schedule prompt, that update that errored earlier. Where did it error? The prompt update hit an internal error. I'll reapply it after this run. Okay, let's see what happened. 2 and 3 confirmed built. Next unbuilt row is row 4. Building it, the doc is built, writing it in. Looks like it is all ready to go. Okay, we'll go ahead and update that. Worked again perfectly. The schedule prompt is now saved. Now, this unintended 6 a.m. run, that's going to be an issue for sure. Run once more to finish row 5, and hopefully there are no errors at all. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay, we're back here, and here it is. You can see it just put in the final one, and now H5 has the link, and all of them have the links for the docs that were created. No errors, clean run. They're all there. Excellent. What it'll do now is, since they're all there, is it'll say there's nothing to build today. And when I add a new row, the daily automation should automatically pick it up and add it in there just how it should. Okay, so now we've made these changes. What do we need to do? All right, so I'm going to come here and I'm going to say, where is the instruction file saved? As there were changes made, I want to update my other files. Okay, so scheduled resource maker, daily build. Now, this is really interesting. Why is it saving it in this other place? I have no idea. So I'm going to go to my documents. Documents here. This is not where I ever save anything. So this really annoys me that it saves it here. But I'm going to take this and I'm going to come back over here to Claude Code. And I'm going to say, I ran this process in Claude CoWork and had to make some changes to what you created. So this file is the one that I know works. Update the file, which was linked leaders. Where are you? Update the one that I can share with Mike with these updates. Be sure to use Mike's original spreadsheet and folder IDs and don't use mine. Then tell me what the name of the updated one is so I can send it to Mike. Yes, you can access my documents. Okay, so now I should be able to send this file to Mike. It's called the Daily Resource Build Skill for Mike.md. And it's in my folder where I want it to be. See, this is the other thing. Claude Code puts things right where I want them to be. Claude CoWork does not. And it put it in some place where I would not suggest putting it. Okay, 2 things he adjusted. Good. Took out my name. Add a step to activate the resource inspiration tab before selecting the cell. Your test sheet had 1 tab, sheet 1, Mike's tab had many. Good. So it did the right thing. Okay. The browser needs a Chrome signed in account with edit access during the scheduled run. That is the most likely thing to break. And that is very true. Very true. All right. So we are looking for daily resource build skill for Mike. So let me go find that. Jethro. Where was that again? Optimization doc / linked leaders. Okay. All right. So this was saved in my Obsidian Vault, which is exactly where I would want it to be. Linked leaders. All right. So I found it. I'm going to save this file and send it to Mike.